Hi sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to C0ming. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying a very big shout out to everyone for all the love and support you all shower me here with. I am truly grateful, and you all are super awesome. Thank you so much. So today we'll be saying talking something very important, and it's about a white man who actually said that he is officially ashamed to even consider himself a white American, right? And he actually made his point on how the history has like really messed them up, and all the lies they have been told about history, and that like everything is all whitewash and all that. And I mean, he made so many this thing, and then the stitches, like there are some places that actually got me, because I see some black people saying that everything a black person can do in America, a white person, or anything a white person can do in America, a black person can also do the same thing. That white people should stop feeling guilty about what happened, about the slavery. Also, some people also made mention of, like, you know, if you think you are okay, you should be an ally so that reparations can be paid and all that. And then somebody actually said that there is nothing like African Americans, and that really caught my attention, because I was like, whoa, what are you saying, trying to say? I understand that there are indigenous black people in America, and there is also African Americans, right? And somebody, she actually said that she doesn't look African, because like she was like, some people said that you look African, that she doesn't look African, she only shared the same skin tone. I mean, like, you all can see her features. I mean, when you watch the video, you see the features, and then maybe it was her contact lenses that made her look something I probably do not understand. And also, like, you know, just I am gonna roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it, and I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comments section. So straight up,
I'm gonna be straight up. I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a white American. And it doesn't help that I'm fluorescent as fuck, as if Dracula had a love child with Casper the Ghost. You know, it's 2023, so if we can no longer identify with our biological gender, then I'm officially no longer identifying with my biological ethnicity. Because I just found out the most messed up thing. And I strongly encourage you to do your own research into this and find out your own information. That way, like, you find it out for yourself. But this is what I just learned. George Washington, right? Did you know that there were indigenous black people in the Americas, and they were Moorish black people, and that the chopping of the cherry tree of George Washington was him officially cutting off their inheritance and their history from ever being remembered, and that he had written and said that in 200 years, if we remove the turbans from their heads, the sandals from their feet, and we make them think that they are just like any other black people, that they will forget their entire history and their inheritance and the fact that they are indigenous to the Americas. And did you know that our first peace treaty ever signed was with Morocco? And that if they had wanted their freedom, they could have had it, but they were never told about it, and so they were enslaved instead. Why can't we ever, why can't, we're the worst. Like, we're the worst. Our history is a total lie of everything. Can I move? I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a...
If you're ashamed to be considered a white American, there is one thing that you can do, and it's the big thing. It's the big risk, big reward, big change, big action thing. And that thing is to support reparations. If you're a white American out there in the world and you are feeling like the world is unjust and blah, 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 black people have it so hard and blah, 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 is American history ever been true and blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that, there is one thing you can do to help get the story straight going forward. And that is to support back and make sure black people have reparations. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is the thing that you can do, this generation of white people, to make sure that going forward you can be proud of your white heritage in a way that is good and not in a way that is scary and bad. So I'm gonna
be straight up. I'm officially ashamed to even be
It's sad that I have to come on here and respond to posts like this. I'm seeing more and more posts like this. I'm assuming that you, bro, are either a younger millennial or a Gen Zer. And that makes a difference because your generation is more easily influenced by those who want to push an agenda, making it seem as though their interpretation of history is correct history. But I'm not even going to go down a rabbit hole of whether what you're talking about is actually true or if it is an amalgamation of things made up or a combination of some truths and some exaggerations to push a certain narrative. Be that as it may, I'm not going to go down that road because that all has to do with research. But let me blow your mind, bro. I'm going to give it to you. Let's say that all of that is true. Let's say that all of what you just said is true. That has no bearing on whether or not you should be okay with who you are. If you have done the research that you say you've done, then you also know that race is a social construct created to keep people separated, created to make a distinction between the dark people lower class and the lighter people lower class in order to enslave the darker people. Therefore, you actually aren't even white. I'm not actually black. Those terms were never used in antiquity, in history. It's just relatively new history, last 400 years or so, that we started calling each other that. Well, you say, well, it's my history that I'm ashamed of. Well, it's not your history. It's people that may look like you, or maybe even, let's say it was your family line, but that's them way back then. That has nothing to do with how you carry yourself. That's like to say if I had a great-grandparent who was an alcoholic who beat his wife, that I would be ashamed to be called what my last name is. No, that was that dude's fault. Now, my grandfather never did that, but I'm just saying, as an example, that would be that dude's fault. That has no reflection on me. That has no reflection on where the country is now. We've moved from some very bad decisions and times in the past to a place where you had a black president, to a place where black people, those that were enslaved, the descendants of those that were enslaved, can do and say and be anything we want to be. There are no additional restrictions on us that are not on anybody else. So do me a favor, bro. Don't listen to the rhetoric that tells you you have to eternally flog yourself for something someone that looks somewhat like you somewhere in the past may have or may have not done. Because they want you to believe this so that they can control you. If you have this self-afflicting white guilt that is misplaced, then they can control how you vote. They can control what you give your money to. They can control your ideologies because deep down they've placed this guilt inside of you that doesn't belong there. You and every American are responsible for yourself. You're responsible for what you do. You're responsible for what you think, not what happened 400 years ago or what happened 250 years ago with people that may or may not even be related to you. It has nothing to do or no bearing on how you conduct yourself today. And newsflash, no country, and I mean no country, has its nose clean. Not one. So you could leave here all you want. You're just going to go to another country that has just as bad or worse history. So get out of the collective mindset. Stop worrying about what other people think about you and just live your life.
I'm going to be straight up. I'm officially ashamed to even be.
Now, we do appreciate you acknowledging what happened back then and how it could have differed now. But this is not even towards you. This is towards the people that disrespect us, right? This is exactly why y'all cannot say slavery happened 400 years ago. This cannot only be an argument. Ms. Box Braidhead as a B word. This is exactly why you cannot appropriate our culture. And this is exactly why we have a problem. Right? So with that being said, like, y'all really got to stop pulling a we jealous of y'all, we this, we that, we're just mad. We're tired of getting picked on. Have y'all ever thought about that? We're tired. Okay? Fuck. Y'all talk about a second culture from y'all. We don't want to kill people. We don't want people to not know who they are. We don't want to erase people's history. That's not even in our blood. We don't want to do nothing that y'all have ever done. Ever. And this is why we call a lot of y'all racist. Because as soon as we tell y'all, this is not okay, this hurts our feelings. And what y'all say, oh, it happened over 400 years ago. Y'all can't use that same argument. Y'all cannot still be pulling that card. This is why we call y'all racist. Like, wake the fuck up. Y'all just sound stupid at this point, and nobody finna keep arguing with y'all about y'all culture and heritage. This is y'all's culture and heritage. Violence. Yeah, and then y'all try to lie about it on us. But here's the thing. The thing is, what everybody needs to be doing is coming together and loving each other and respecting each other. But here we are again. Like the other girl said in the other TikTok, it's just another day for us when it comes to this racism shit.
Officially cutting off their inheritance and their history from ever being remembered.
Also throw in there, if you notice, that most of the people that got their history stolen from them and hidden share the same last names as the forefathers, or whatever you want to call them. Like, y'all know a lot of Washingtons that's this color. Y'all know a lot of Washingtons and Jeffersons and all of them, because after that whole lick was done, that trick was done, most of them had farms. They were farming. They used that in the gaming world. They had breeding farms. When they did all the enslaving, they was purposely making people to have kids and kids and kids, like a whole operation system, and all of them was left with their last names.
I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a white American.
Okay, so you guys know I'm gonna say watch the whole Stitch, but anybody else remember PBS, the public broadcasting system, and back when the History Channel actually was about history, you know, before Ancient Aliens and everything else came about? It's like this kid stepped into a time machine and grew up, I don't know, during our time when Encyclopedia Britannicas were sold still door to door. Just gonna throw that out there. It never ceases to amaze me that what we take is just common knowledge, it's not common. And this is what I'm like, yeah, y'all ain't wonder about them Olmec kids? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, either your people were industrious or they were stupid. You know, because if I got lost on the way somewhere else, I'm not going to go back to another place to bring people over here to work. I'm just going to take the people that are here and work them, right? Anyway, yeah. So, while you do have a Canadian tan, sir, you are very day glow. I was going to try to give you a nap, but the truth of the matter is, your perception of your whiteness doesn't really matter. It's the world's perception, and, you know, how that makes your life just a little bit better than the lives of other people. Anyway, go back and watch that stitch. It's actually kind of funny or sad, depending on, how much history you know.
Other black people, ugh, God forbid. I had last video about this guy, but I think I have an idea about what the formula is here. So the idea here is like every pro-black conspiracy just kind of gets bundled up together. They can't be too specific about any one narrative, because then you'd have to be able to nail them down on anything ever. The conspiracy theory is that we are the Moorish indigenous people or something like that. So it just kind of lists a bunch of unsubstantiated and unconnected facts, totally removed from their context. It just kind of puts them all together to form a bit of a narrative. Because like the George Washington cutting down the cherry tree, that didn't happen. That's like everyone knows that didn't actually happen. And he never provides a source for whatever he's claiming George Washington said about us. And then sprinkle on something about Morocco and our early independence. And then bam, that's all you gotta do. You have your narrative formed and everyone's lapping it up in the comment section. And there's been like a bit of an epidemic of white people in like black conspiracy spaces, like basically being like, yeah, this is all true. It is a departure from the usual flat earth, new age Holocaust denial, for one. But maybe just mind your own business.
I'm gonna be straight up. I'm officially ashamed to even be.
Okay, good morning. Go back and watch what that young man is saying on his TikTok post. It's very interesting because it's very, very true. And I've been saying it, and a lot of black people don't want to face the facts that we've been lied to our whole goddamn existence, okay? And this is how I know this to be true, that black Americans are not Africans. I never call myself an African American. I am not an African American. I call myself a black American or a black indigenous American. And I'm about to tell you how I know this to be true. So I took an African American history course in college, okay? And in that book, it talked about the two forms of slavery in the United States of America. There were two. One came first, and then the next one came. The first one was indentured servitude. Okay? So indentured servitude consisted of white people and black people. It usually was a punishment for having debts. Okay? So when indentured servitude was going down, it said that there were black people that owned slaves. Now, how is that possible? And this is prior to the transatlantic slave trade in America. I'm confused. Where did these black people come from? If all black people come from Africa, which we know that's not true, wherever you go, the indigenous population is what? Black. Fuji, black. Aboriginals in Australia, what color is their skin? Black. And the list go on and on, and I could just go on for days. I do not call myself an African American, and I am not an African American, and you can argue with me all you want. But if you're so sure that you're an African, let me ask you this, boo-boo. Where the ships that brought your ancestors over here? Now, I'm going to say, if you say, well, oh, they were old, so they got destroyed or whatever. I can go to the Boston Harbor right the fuck now and walk on the ship that the Boston Tea Party was performed on. Some of those slave ships were around the same age as that ship. Where the ships at? Where the ships? Where is one damn ship? Where's a picture of a ship? There are none. Ask yourself that shit. Where the ships? Now, one thing I know about palm-covered America, they love to keep they shit of their great accomplishments. I would think bring millions and millions and millions and millions of human beings across the Atlantic Ocean, God knows one of the hardest trips still to this day to take, would be something to say. Or it would be in one of these African American history museums, so-called African American history museums. Where the ships. Go watch what that boy said. I'm sorry, what that gentleman said about what George Washington said about us. Master Musa traveled over here during medieval times. They don't teach you that in school, though. Stop relying on what you learned in school. It's all been a lie. A lie to take your identity away from you. Guess what? A peoples that don't know where they come from is a peoples that is lost and don't know where they're going. Like I said, if you like, you can argue with me all damn day. Still, I'm going to say, we're the ships. Cameras have been around for a very long time. Why didn't take a picture of a ship? They got pictures of slaves. They ain't got no picture of no ship. I never forget, I met a Native American lady one day, and we were having a conversation about Black Americans. And she said to me, this, because I had heard that we weren't African, but I hadn't accepted it yet. And she looked at me, we were having a conversation about what's going on in this country and everything. And she looked at me, she said, you know your people were here too before the white people. I said, what did you say? And then she told me some things to look up, like the Seminole Indians, the Blackfoot Indians, the Black Cherokee Indians. We are not African. Now, some of us do have African heritage because they did bring only 20 African slaves to this country. So yes, they intermingled with the Black indigenous population of America. But we're not African. And when Africans try to tell me I'm African, I say, no, I'm not. I don't even look like you. We don't even have the same characteristics. We don't have the same features. The only thing that we might share in common is skin tone. That's it. So, like I said, a lot of Black people don't want to believe that they're not African, and I don't understand why. Because now you're learning who you really are, your knowledge of self, and you don't want to accept it. Oh well. You was lied to about every damn thing else in this damn country. What makes you think these people would actually let you know what your identity was? And before you say something like, well, it's Black people that done wrote books about their ancestors, who's the fuck to say that they not in on the lie? I know a lot of Black people that don't want to help their own. Oh my God, I got tore up last night. I'm sorry, I just noticed I'm having an allergy to something. I don't know. But like I said, if you want to believe that you're African, by all means, call yourself an African American all damn day. But this Black American right here, don't call herself an African, and will never. And don't let my kids call themselves Africans. I taught my children and my grandchildren, you're not African. Look at the last king of Hawaii. What color was he? That's an indigenous population. Fuji, they're indigenous population. Google what they look like. I'm pretty sure most of y'all know what Aboriginal people in Australia look like. I hope you do. Stop letting these white people dictate your history to you. Because 9 times out of 10, they're lying. I'm just saying.
We're the worst. Our history is a total lie of everything.
Yep, absolutely.
Worst. Our history is a total lie of everything.
Yeah, our entire history is one big lie. The American history, what we've been told in schools, the truth is just one big lie. And the truth of the matter is, we've never really been the good guys. There's only been one war in the entire history of America that's ever been for a good, noble cause, and that was the Revolutionary War. Other than that, other than the English-American War that granted us our independence, other than that, the rest of the wars have all been lies, deceitful, just complete farce. The twisting of reality to justify these wars. America has never been the good guy. We've never have. And if you start looking at the history, he's talking about the Moors, how we just completely decimated a group of people. Well, I have a question for you guys then. What do you think they're doing to Europe right now, to Europeans? When you move a bunch of Europeans from Europe over to America, and then you decrease their birth rate and you start flooding them in with immigrants, this is a form of... Some of you guys know what word I'm about to say, but I can't say that on here without being banned. It's the replacement theory, and everybody can say it's a conspiracy theory, but it's going on across the entire world. White Europeans are the biggest threat to a certain particular sect of people that want control of the entire world, and we're seen as the biggest threat to them. And so, if they want to gain control of the world by diminishing every other race and culture in the world to make themselves better. It really makes no sense at all why they're doing this, but it's in their book. They believe they're the chosen people, and this is what their mission in life to do. And they believe that when the Messiah comes back, that they each will have 2,800 slaves underneath each arm. And yeah, we're headed towards that future, very much so, where the rest of humanity is enslaved to one particular group of people, where there are no borders except for one group of people are allowed to have borders. You guys already know where I'm going with this. I can't say it, otherwise I would probably get this video taken down. So, yeah, just know that we've been lied to for pretty much your whole life. Everything you know about America is wrong, and we've never been the good guys. Just the fact of the matter. And this is the reason why I have a problem when people say, stay and fight for America. What are we fighting for? What, for these rulers to continue to lie to us, to justify these false wars, to keep enslaving the rest of the population of America? What are you fighting for? Like, what's there left to fight for? A big corrupt government? Come on, please. This is why I can't get into the left or right paradigm when it comes to party politics on here. I can't get into it because it's all just stupidity. It's all just designed to break you guys apart and fight amongst each other when really it's a class war between us and these assholes in charge that are lying to us and justifying us going to war and sending our children to die over some war for their fucking profits. It's as simple as that, guys. And if you're wondering what group of people want to gain control of the entire world, well, some people obviously know who this is, but I'm going to give away some hints that should be obvious. What religion and group of people have their own country that you're only allowed asylum into if your DNA matches to their DNA? What country does that? Only country in the world to only accept refugees that match the DNA they want. Who does that? Because I know that if it was a white country, European country that did that said, no, you got to be 99% Belgrade to come back to Belgrade, they would be considered racist, right? Just wondering. See, but it's okay when one particular religious group does it. It's totally okay. Nobody questions them. I wonder what that group could be. I wonder who that group could be. I wonder what group of people want to take control of the world. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not going to say it, though. If you're ever wondering who your real masters are, just think about who you can and can't criticize.
I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a white American.
There's so much more injustice in the history of the United States of America. And I'm going to refer to the great migration of the Irish people who were starving in their own land, not allowed to speak their own language, not allowed to hold office, not allowed to own weapons, not allowed to own land. Did I mention that? When they came to the United States because of the so-called potato famine, there are some people who say that the potato famine didn't really actually happen. It was a way of the British to subjugate their subjects, because I'm sure that knowing how humans can be, and people being on their own land will fight for what's theirs, they must have found the perfect way to allow people to starve to death. One account says that they were forced to ship their potatoes over to England and not allowed to have any for themselves to eat. There's a whole lot more. It's to reduce it down to a potato famine as if the Irish survived solely on potatoes is whitewashing history. I'm going to use the term white very loosely, because it's those who have been assimilated into that group are feeling that something's not right. It's because you weren't part of that group for the longest time. British colonization happened for 800 years. 800 years of resentment. Imagine that. And then you have the separation of not only from your indigenous root religion, but you had the Catholics and the Protestants. It was a distraction to keep the Irish from being unified for the longest time. Does any of this sound familiar? There used to be a sign when I was a kid. It said, "No blacks, no dogs, no Irish." And somehow people were convinced you're absorbed into the culture now. There are many who are not that easily fooled, and others who are. The other group was the Italians. They used to call them wops, without papers. You thought that they were filthy. Who is this they that is treating everyone like this until they become assimilated and become your future fascist leaders like you have in one of our southernmost states? So keep waking up. The anti-wokeness, making it seem like being asleep is the answer, really surprises me. Keep waking up. I believe that on the other side of waking up is true peace, true respect for your human being, true prosperity, true health. I don't know why. There's a group of, I don't know, a small group of people who are making so much money from how things are that they don't see that it's also possible to make so much money on things being better. Anyway, this is my rant. I hope that you feel more proud of yourself as an individual who is waking up. Everyone, be proud of that.
I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a white American.
I'm trying to tell you from the beginning, man. Why you think all these events happening, man? That's all it takes is a little bit of research, bro. That's all it takes. All you gotta do is do your research. They telling us they selves, man. Come on, man. Y'all, what y'all doing, man? Wake up, man. Think, tap in, bro. You know what I'm saying, man? Hey, man, come on, man. What y'all doing, bro? We in this together. Fuck all that divided shit, bro. What they say, united we stand, divided we fall, bro. Man, y'all better get out here, man. Y'all better get active out here, man. Y'all better start playing, man. You know, let them play with us like that, man. They know who the motherfucker. This land owns food, bro. They know, bro. You know what I'm saying? They know, bro. It's hidden, bro. It's coming, bro. Man, y'all better get ready, bro. I ain't joking, bro. Get ready, man.
I'm officially ashamed to even be considered a white American.
Good.
So this is all I got from the stitches. And first of all, I'm going to start by saying that, all I know is that the history I mean, so many lies has been told and all that, and still to this very moment, they are still trying to cover up the lies that we're told or that are being told about history. And then let's get into there is something that like, you know, from the stitches, the lady with contact lenses said there was nothing like African Americans, and that she has stopped, she told her kids that there are not African Americans, that there are Americans. I do not have any problem with that, but I think a lot of people also need history lessons, and should as much as I need it, because, like, you know, so far I have been trying as much as I can to get, like, you know, to get to know more about what happened in history and all that. And she made mention of that where is the picture of the ship that took people from Africa to America. I am not saying that there are no indigenous black people, that I know, right? And there are African Americans, people that were taken away from here to this place. I don't understand why somebody is denying the fact that people were taken from Africa to back there, right? And she actually said that that she doesn't have African features. That really caught me. I mean, she said, can't you see her African? Maybe her contact lenses is making her to look different, or to make her look somehow that I don't understand. But I don't see any difference between her and Ari. I mean, okay, she said it's only the skin tone, which is cool. I see, right? Okay, so let's start by this. She said people were not taken from Africa to America, right? Or were not taken by ship or anything and the rest of it. Go back to Ghana. There is a slave house there, right? That was where people that were captured. I talked about this in one of my videos. I mean, even an African American woman told the story herself, right? That people were captured. I mean, people that were captured were in the slave house, right? And the same slave house were where they were taking people, like, you know, out to, I mean, people are being kept there till the ship returns to pick up more people. And she also made mention of, I mean, dungeons where people are kept also, like the physics, everything, like they never opened the door, they never, like, you know, used where everything were just in same place. And women, if a woman gets pregnant along the line while in that slave house, right, you are taken somewhere else to give birth. When you are done giving birth and breastfeeding your child, and they think the child is okay, like, you know, we can take the mother away, they take the mother away when the next ship comes, right, to take them back. And she mentioned something like, if along the line they find out during the period they were taking people from here back there, if they find out that a woman is pregnant, right, that they are going to tie something like a dumb ball, or like all those big balls, to her nail, like to your nail or something, and then drown you, or they probably throw you inside the sea, because they feel like you are not worth the money, because, like, they feel like when you are pregnant and you get there, then you don't you are not valuable to them. Not until they find, like, until they found out that they could also start breeding plantation where black people breed. They've at some point they felt like we cannot keep going to bring people and all that. I mean, probably the time frame they started breeding people also in plantations. I mean, I don't know, but I think as much as I need history classes, and I am also learning, it's a work in progress. Some people also need to learn history instead of coming here to, I am not disputing what she's saying, but then this is just where I'm coming from. I personally know that there are black indigenous that are not African American, right? And there are African Americans. If she's trying to tell people that there is nothing like African American, then that is where I have the problem. And this is where I'm going to draw the line. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.